Football at 4, powered by Inside the Birds, as we welcome in Andrew DiCecco to join us for our Eagles talk, previewing the Eagles-Rams showdown at the Link. Birds 6-point home favorite. Plenty to be excited about. Obviously, another excellent season from the Philadelphia Eagles. They get a win at home over the Green Bay Packers, just dominating, at least on the defensive side of the ball. Some questions that we've already outlined earlier in the show on the offensive side. So we'll get Andrew's key matchups, keys to a victory for the Eagles, things we should keep an eye on the other side of the fence as it relates to the Los Angeles Rams as they come off their wild card win over Sam Darnold and the Minnesota Vikings. So let's get to it now. Andrew, how we doing, man? It's been a while. Excited to chat it up with you for a few minutes here talking some Birds.
Yeah, I'm doing well. How you guys doing?
Doing well, my friend. Doing well. All right, so let's get right to it here. We've touched a lot on the passing attack, how it's not been pretty. At least we can say that for the Green Bay game as the Eagles get the win 22-10. JalenHurts, 13 completions, 131 passing yards. Didn't look great. 6 drives, total 18 net passing yards, right? Does any of that matter? Does that carry over into this game as it relates to keys to a victory? Or are you sort of looking at that saying that's not the path to a victory anyway? We don't need to worry ourselves with that.
Well, Jalen Hurts made it very clear. He reiterated, I should say, yesterday that winning is what's most important to him, however that may look like, whatever his role may be. Now, all that being said, Ryan, the passing game does have to look far more functional than it looked against the Green Bay Packers. It has to have more rhythm to it, more consistency early in games, because eventually they're going to run into a team that's going to be able to bottle that up, and they won't be able to come back. They won't be able to always rely on the defense sort of taking over and atoning for the offensive shortcomings. But Jalen Hurts did make some nice throws, some timely throws in that game. He picked up yards with his legs when necessary. And the stat line, he could throw that out the window. He doesn't take that into account. Neither does the team. Winning is what matters, but it does need to have some more of a rhythm to it. And that really, aside from a game or two this season, has really been a theme that's plagued the offense, that's been holding it back. And it's been kind of overshadowed with Saquon Barkley's emergence in rushing for 2,005 yards, where he's just been able to be such a dominant force and the driving force of that offense that it's kind of overshadowed some of the passing game woes.
If you're Nick Sirianni this week and you had to prioritize, 2 or 3 things, however many you want to prioritize here for us, Andrew, what are they? They could be on offense, they could be on defense, both. However you see fit here. What are the most important 2 or 3 things that you can think of in order for the Eagles to get a win on Sunday at the Link?
Yeah, I would say first and foremost, protect the football, which Jalen Hurts has done a tremendous job in doing so. And when you're able to do things like that, that's winning football. But beyond that, the passing game has to have more of a rhythm, as I was outlining, because you need to have more of a balance as you sort of work your way through the postseason. And if you want to ultimately be able to defeat some of the more preeminent teams that you're going to be facing, perhaps in the NFC Championship game, you have to have more of a balance, because then you become too one-dimensional and teams will look to sell out to stop Saquon Barkley. And the further you go, the better the teams get, the better the defensive coordinators get. And that's why so that would be one of the other things. And then defensively, try to turn up the pressure on Matthew Stafford. Nolan Smith had 2 sacks last week against the Packers. I thought he was phenomenal, very violent, handsy off the edge, set the edge very well, and was effective against the run. They need to continue to do that. But they only have really a 3-man rotation right now with Nolan Smith, Josh Sweat, and rookie Jalen Hunt. And Nolan Smith has been really the major benefactor, or the major factor, I should say, in the pass rush. And I think to get someone like Matthew Stafford off of his game, and he is exceptional at making throws with the weird arm angles, and the play is never really dead when you have someone like that back there. So it's prudent for the Eagles to be able to dial up some pressure and get him on the ground, or at least lay some hits into him so that he that throws off his timing a little bit.
Andrew, to the best of your knowledge, give us an update on the injuries, for both sides, but of course the Eagles, as most of us know by now. Nakobe Dean, unfortunately, a significant loss, not only for this game, but assuming things go well in this one for the near future in this year's postseason. So tough loss there. But talk about any other key injuries that you have highlighted.
Well, I would say, obviously, Nakobe Dean's a big loss, and you can expect to see some combination of Oren Burks and Jeremiah Trotter Jr., who Vic Fangio, when he spoke on Tuesday, sort of intimated that he's going to have a role as well. To what extent, to what degree, we're going to find that out, whether that's rotational or situational. That will be determined Sunday. But another one that it's not worth keeping an eye on, because we know what the plan is. The plan's been outlined. It's the same as last week, would be AJBrown, and he was out on the practice field today, as he said he would be, with the knee, and it was knee/rest yesterday, and it's all about managing it and getting him to Sunday as healthy as possible, and that's going to be something that you can expect to see for the remainder of the season, however long that goes on. But he was out there today, and on my Twitter, there's actually a clip from when we were out there where he was doing some movement side to side, which kind of showcases his ability to move pretty fluidly. And so other than that, Dallas Goedert didn't practice today with an illness, and that'll show up on the injury report later this afternoon. So other than that, I think the Eagles are in good shape.
Andrew, matchup-wise against the Rams on Sunday, I mean, who are your X factors on L.A.? Is it Cooper Kupp? Is it Matthew Stafford? We know Puka Nacua can get his, but a guy like Cooper Kupp has really not had a good season as of late, only one catch in that Vikings game. To you, who is the X factor on the Rams?
Yeah, I'll say Cooper Kupp, because he's been really quiet, and I feel like he's going to see a flurry of targets. Now, I will also say that the Rams don't have any explosive type of playmakers, right? I think there's a lot of first and second level threats that can really threaten the intermediary levels, which is where Cooper DeJean and perhaps some of the linebackers that might be tested a little bit in coverage there. But they don't really have somebody that can take the top off of the defense. I think if you're really looking at it objectively, maybe Tutu Atwell, but he doesn't really factor too prominently in their passing attack. So I think that Cooper Kupp would be my X factor for the Rams on offense. And then on the Eagles side, I think I'm going to say that Devontae Smith's going to have a big game. I was expecting it against the Green Bay Packers, just given his ability to be that three-level threat, stretch teams vertically, but also be that safety valve for JalenHurts when the passing game isn't necessarily in a rhythm. Jalen seems to always look Devontae's way. Devontae also has a knack for finding the soft spot in zone. So to me, I think that he's going to have a pretty big game on Sunday. If the passing game is really into effect, let's not forget the weather situation. That could lend itself to a run-heavy game. But I'm going to go with Devontae for my X factor for Philly.
Andrew, is the run-heavy game has to be the path to victory, though, right? Like, interesting you bring up Devontae Smith. He's a favorite for me, selfishly, and we all know just how great he is as a wide receiver. I'm not going out on a limb saying he's a favorite of mine. But, AJBrown, a lot of talk around him, a lot of talk about the passing game, period, for the Birds. But also brought this up earlier that does that even matter, right? Like, we talk about the defense playing at home and Saquon, right? That could be enough, or can it?
Well, it does matter to a degree. JalenHurts doesn't have to throw for 300 yards for it to be deemed a successful passing attack, but he has to make timely decisions, he has to make timely throws, and it has to have more of a rhythm. That's the word that I keep using because it looked very choppy and static against the Green Bay Packers, and the further you navigate through the postseason, that's not going to be good enough. It's good enough until it is. Winning is the main thing and everything like that, but you eventually have to be able to cash in on some of those opportunities and to play complementary football, which the Eagles preach throughout the season. I think that the offense in general, not just the passing, but the running game wasn't overly effective either, especially in the second half of that game. They need to elevate their performance to kind of meet the defense halfway, which has been absolutely phenomenal. I just think it's a big ask, Brian, to expect the defense to constantly be able to bottle up teams, and Saquon Barkley, it's almost like it's all or nothing. If Saquon Barkley doesn't have a home run hitting performance, the offense really struggles, and you're putting all of the burden on the shoulders of your defense. I just don't think that is a long-term successful plan of attack.
Andrew DiCecco, Football at 4 of Inside the Birds, reporter, content producer, does it all for Inside the Birds. Make sure you give him a follow at Andrew DiCecco, kind enough to join us for a few minutes, breaking this key matchup down. On your way out the door, we appreciate your time, man. We know you have to run a couple minutes early today, but just for what it's worth, give us a final score prediction here.
I am going to have the Eagles winning this game, I'll say 24-17.
24-17 from Andrew DiCecco. There it is. Andrew, we appreciate it, man. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, guys. Good to talk to you.